your message different going into an elimination game than any other game in a series?
Well, it's a good question, Ashley, because sometimes, the expression is it's the hardest one to win, right? But is it? Like, go back over the history. I'm going to go after our short history, and last year it was for both teams. It's 2-1. It's 1-1 into the third in a 7-game series. The previous years, not necessarily, or a year. We won some elimination games with big scores. So, to me, the message is, when a team's up against it, you've got to match their intensity early. You can't sit around and wait and say, oh, I got another chance, or that's the thing. Now, all of a sudden, you put some doubt in their mind if you're coming to play and push and get into another level. So that'll be our message. We got another level to get to here. We know that. And we saw some of that in the first period, second period. So we got to stay at that level. That would be my message. Like, put doubt in their minds by being on your game early, not kind of waiting to see what happens. Because in the back of your mind, I think as a player, like, oh, they're going to have a push right away because they're up against it. Well, why don't we have the push first? Like, get the first push and go from there. And then get hungry knowing that, if you do get the lead, and that's what happened 2 years ago, then we put teams away by doing that. We were the better team early. So that would be my message. You don't have to go by what the conventional saying if the last one's the toughest. It might very well be. They're a really, really scrappy, hard-working, no-nonsense team. They're coming at you. So I suspect it will be, but we don't have to go in there with that mentality. Like, let's go get to another level. That would be my message.
Do you have an update on Dorofeev?
Yeah, he's day-to-day, so we'll see how he is for tomorrow. We didn't skate today right to the plane, so we'll have a better idea.
With the road game, how much different do you feel like you're going to have to deal with the line matching? Obviously, you don't have the last change. Like, do you have to switch your lines around? Can you go with what you were going with?
Well, I can go wherever I want. I'm the coach. If you're asking me, am I going to keep the lines the same or try to get certain matchups? I think it went well for Jack and Carly. If that's what we're speaking of, we switched some guys later because Pav had to leave. So that's how we'll probably start. If he can't go, we'll think about who goes in the lineup and go from there and how the lines go from, shake out. But I'm pretty comfortable with it, however it works out. Carly's a great centerman. If we decide to put him back in because it's a better matchup for us, in the middle, we'll do that. I like their chemistry. So, we lean towards starting the same way, but again, some of it was matchup dictated. That's why we did it. We don't usually, I don't know if Carly's ever played much left wing here, but you do what you got to do, and I guess that's it. We'll do what we got to do tomorrow to see what kind of gives us any competitive advantage or neutralizes certain players.
We talk about Brett Hotten a lot this season. Just how rewarding is it to see him constantly get the due he's getting, basically, with the goals he's scoring in big games? Yeah,
he's had a great year for us. He continues. Low maintenance guy, gives you everything he's got every night. Move him around. Those guys are invaluable on your team, especially this time of year. So we're lucky to have him. And we were 2 years ago. We started to see it then, right? He moves up in the line to play with Stevie and Stoney, scores some huge goals. So, listen, he was a highly touted guy coming to junior. There's skill package there. It's just opportunity sometimes. And here he eventually got maybe a little bit more for whatever reason. And now he's taking advantage of that.
Was that the first time you got a celebratory shove from Mark Stone?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. No, last year, or 2 years ago in the playoffs. He's the odd one. He surprised me. Do you know how old I am? He's got to be careful.
Just going back to Jack, it seemed like with Will on the wing and kind of opened things up for him, he took over the game. Was that the aggressiveness you were looking for from him?
Well, I think Jack would have played great no matter what. It's that time, right? You're in a 2-2 series. Things haven't gone your way, and he can elevate. He can get to another level, and he did. With his determination on the puck. Is it always going to result in offense or great plays? Enough times it will, if that's his mindset, that he's going to, get in the attack mode because he's a special player. So You know, you're going to see it throughout the league. You know, when the 2-2 series get to game, you know, that now it's, there's a little more on the line. You saw it. We're seeing it everywhere. Seeing it throughout the series. You know, if a team's going to advance, usually the cream rises to the top. That's usually what happens. Whether they dominate or fill the score sheet, you know, but they tend to start playing better because that's why they've gotten where they are, because they're relied on. They know that, and they know they can deliver. So good on Jack. I said I wasn't worried about him. I thought he was playing good hockey, and maybe things weren't going his way, and we change a few things around and give him a spark. But to me, it's 100% on him. He just elevated, and good for him. And as I said, we saw it. You're starting to see it in a few other series too, and that's the mark of the top guys.
You mentioned last night having a locker room full of champions, and two of those guys were not here, but they are champions. The first in 2023 when you guys won, in Tanner Pearson and Brandon Saad. Just how big of a luxury is it to be able to go to a guy who hadn't played in the first couple games in Tanner Pearson, bring him in, and then he obviously rewards you last night with a big play in overtime?
Well, there's, you know, past experience matters, but it doesn't mean, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't mean you're going to win a game because you've been there, but there's something to draw on. And when I talked to him before the series started, he said that the year they won, he didn't play the first two games. So he's been down this road. So that is where he can draw on that experience to say, okay, I'm not in. Do I deserve to be? Do I not? You know what I mean? Doesn't matter. When I do get in, I got to take advantage of the opportunity because that's playoff hockey. So I think that was his mentality. And the other day, he didn't get as much of an opportunity, got a little more rhythm this one, and hopefully tomorrow's even more of a rhythm. But it is an advantage if you use it correctly. And but at the end of the day, it doesn't guarantee anything, right? Like, new teams win every year. They've been close, and so once you've been there, there's certain things you can draw on. But my message to them a little bit is just because we won doesn't mean it's you know, there's no entitlement because of that. There's something you can use to your advantage in the previous runs and try to take that, but you got to play. You got to play the other team at the end of the day. That's all that matters. And he won his battle down low, made a good play.
You talked about the team having another gear to get to, and you're going to be playing better hockey, but it seems like Aiden Hill has really upped his game as the series has gone on. Just you talk about his play, especially the last two games.
Well, you know, he's won them both, so that's the start. The goalies are paid to win. Yeah, he's been better, and it's another area. It's an important position, right? You need good play out of that position, and it can go back and forth in a series. So as long as he keeps getting better every game, we figure out a few more things to play better in front of him, then we'll be in good shape. So I anticipate he'll take another step tomorrow. Another guy that's been through this, he understands that, you know, one game doesn't determine a whole series. So just keep working at your game, keep getting better. I think for the goaltenders, when you play the same team, now it'll be 6 times. You got to try to understand some of the shooter's tendencies if you can as well. And he's probably dialed into that. So there's a lot of different things that go into it. But he's our guy, and we need him to be solid, and he has been.
You knew they were probably going to make a push in the third, but when they make the goalie switch, can that add a little bit more of an emphasis when a situation like that comes up?
For them? I think, listen, he's a popular guy, and I'm sure they think, let's go get one. You know, their goalie has played well in this series, and you throw a guy in there in Game 5 in the third period, like you don't want to say, hey, you know what, we're going to take off down the other end. You make 4 or 5 great saves, and that's not the mentality. Usually it's, hey, let's lock it down in front of this guy, let him get into the game, and let's go get one for him. So, excuse me, my guess is that was a bit of their mentality. And listen, they're down 2-1 in the third. They've got to have, most teams are going to have a push. It happened with us the other night in their building. We could have responded to it better. We take a penalty early on. That probably gives them a little. No, that was the second period, right? We took one. Yeah, sorry. They're probably going to have a push, so we have to manage that better. But that's playoff hockey. Good teams are going to do that. You got to get through it. And we did almost till the end. Like I said, we got a break at the end, but we do have to manage that better.